to CSL on the Lake and our Monday evening virtual celebration. Let us begin in consciousness. I take a moment to quiet my mind, to take a breath, and just to center myself in the here and now, knowing that there's one power in the universe, one infinite creative potential, one divine energy that is fully present at every point in space. That whatever is, and what will be, will be. There's an energy of life and possibility that is continually flowing and moving, creating, recreating. And so I know for this evening service that whatever needs to be said is said, whatever needs to be heard is heard, and that something comes of this that is rich and rewarding, powerful and positive. And so for all of this and for each one gathered here, I am deeply, deeply grateful. So in love and grace, I release these ideas into the law of mind. I know that all is well, and I let that be the truth. And so it is. Pulling myself up. What a great song. Well, the message today is life loves you. You, that's who I'm talking to. Life loves you. Each of you, as you are, where you are. Nothing you need to do, no particular thing you have to be in order to earn that. It is there because you draw breath, because you're here. And I was doing some writing on Saturday, and just all these questions and stuff were coming up for me, like, and I'm surprised. Life has a way of surprising me sometimes. And going through this whole lifetime of experiences and having no idea the impact of each event, right? We judge them as good or bad, right or wrong, but we don't know. We don't know until years later when we look back as to what impact they had or didn't have on where we ended up and what we ended up doing. But knowing who we really are, or what it is we're up, what we're here to do, or what we're here to be, and then day by day getting up and going through the day and going through the motions and ending the day and then back in bed to sleep for a few more hours to wake up with the same sense of what? Nothing, something. What is it that drives a life that is merely putting away the hours of a day, the days in the week, the weeks in a month, months in a year, not fully realizing or knowing truly why, or even exploring what living could really look like? I mean, why are we here? What's the point? If life is for living, then what is it that we're doing? Are we actively living? Are we really present in life, doing what we love in a way that we love? Are we taking time to really balance out our lives with work and play and love and laughter? Are we finding ways to really be present moment by moment? Are we allowing the days to count down to the end, to that final goodbye? Or are we actively living? So what if Louise Hay is correct when she says, life loves you? Imagine what the days and the weeks and the hours and the minutes, the months, the years would be like if, in fact, we woke up every day knowing that we're enough, that we're valued, that we're loved. Regardless of what our neighbors said or our teacher said or our parents said when we were little, or, a spouse or a sibling, our kids. What if we really knew that we were loved and lived from that understanding, moment by moment, day by day? What would you do differently if you knew you were loved? What would you feel emotionally if you knew without a doubt that you were loved, that you were important to the unfolding of the universe right now? What would you do? What would it be like? So in the book, Life Loves You, which is what we're going to be studying on Sunday afternoons from 2 to 4, starting this week coming up. In there, Louise Hay and Robert Holden, in the introduction, Holden writes that life loves you is an inquiry that takes you.
I didn't pull the meat out. I just pulled out these.
Deja, can you make sure everybody's muted, please?
Oh.
Thank you. So, in the inquiry, they talk about, this deepening that happens, that if we really take a look at how
When you bought it, I remember you said it thawed.
Okay, we need to mute somebody. Let me see who needs muting here. Okay, I think everybody's muted now. No. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, folks. So the deep questions about life and the journey and the relationship we have in the world, how everything we think, say, and do is impacting all the rest of it, I think that's an important question to ponder. And when we think about loving ourselves enough or accepting that we are loved, I think there's something big about that that allows us to then show up in the world in a new way. Because the truth is, hurt people, right? When we're feeling broken or abused or betrayed, or we're upset in some way, what happens is we tend to react to that, and we can cause pain somewhere else. But when we feel loved and appreciated and accepted for who we are, where we are, as we are, there's something different that happens. And the energy from that produces more of the same. And so in the book, they talked about science has learned to see the world in a new way. For instance, we now know that atoms are not separate little things, but expressions of a universal energy. A universe of separate things never really existed. Everything is part of everything. Each of us is part of a greater unity. We have a relationship with the stars, with each other, and with all of creation. I mean, doesn't that just feel different from looking at the world and feeling a sense of loneliness or separation, or feeling a sense of, I'm different than somebody else, or I just wish I could be normal? Have you ever heard that, or ever thought that, or said that? I've heard it many times, especially from youth, if I could just be normal. But what if we just take all that apart and unpack it and go, life loves you. Life loves me. Life loves you. As you are, where you are. Wow. If we come to each day with that understanding, would we in fact have a different experience overall? If we knew that everything we did was part of this universal one, if we could really grasp that we are all connected. Now, science recognizes that the world is not just a physical place, it is also a state of mind. Sir James Jeans, the English physicist, wrote, "The universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine." So what does that say about our thoughts and our thinking? Exploring the consciousness of creation is the new frontier of science. It's been going on for a while. Holden writes, "The basic building block of creation is not the atom. It is love, not the sentimental thing. It is not just an emotion. It is the creative principle behind the dance of life." So what does love really mean? Love to me means unity. It means that connection. It means acceptance of each other and where we are. It means being present regardless of circumstance, and being with somebody even when we disagree or we don't understand. Because there are life choices people make that we don't understand. Now, we have a choice to dismiss them as, oh, man, that was the dumbest thing ever, or to go, wow, let's have a conversation. I want to understand why you create this way, or what it is you learn from this or receive from this, or how you choose to be, or how you've been created to be. Because remember, we're all unique and special. No two alike, even identical twins. Physically, they may look the same. But if you've known twins, you know they are so not the same, that although the physical appearance is there, the energy of life and living and the way they do what they do is in fact different. We're each here to do something. And coming from that place of personal acceptance, because that's where it all begins, right? If I accept that the universe is a place that loves me, that it's a place of connection with me, that I'm part of it, and so accepted by it. And if I can begin there and then take a look at my own thought process and remind myself moment by moment that I am valuable, that I'm creative, that I'm essential, that I'm an essential component of this universal oneness. When I recognize that, then I begin to show up in life a little bit differently. I can be more peaceful. I can choose to be in conversation with someone that I don't understand and be able to hear what they have to say. I may not agree, and that's okay. We don't have to agree. But I can be there and be in conversation and be of support. I remember a musician telling me that at a conference, she was getting great support from a roadie that was helping her move equipment and do all kinds of things. And oh, she just loved this guy. She was so happy to be working with him. He was so positive and upbeat. And then they got into a political conversation and realized they were on very opposite sides of the divide. And she sat with that going, how could I love this person when this is what his politics are? Fast forward just a little bit further, there's a musician that she's working with. And that musician, like, oh man, they have this great rapport. They're creating music together. It's just beautiful and wonderful. And then they have the conversation about politics. I mean, what do they say about politics and religion? Don't go there. Well, they're having a conversation about politics, and it's the same thing. The person she's collaborating with is on the other side of the divide. And she loves this person. And she goes, how do I reconcile that I am so opposed to the politics that they believe in, and yet somehow I really love who they are and I love spending time with them. How is it that that works? And that's a deep question. And I think sometimes what we choose to do is when we're in disagreement with someone, we find it easier to separate, to go, oh, well, if that's what you believe, then I don't want any part of it. And so we go our separate ways. And of course, religion and politics can be quite divisive. There's a few other things as well, but those are two of the top ones. And so we find a way, or we work toward finding a way to reconcile ourselves with, not everybody has to be like me. Not everybody has to believe like me. And I can choose, because it is a choice, I can choose to love you where you are, as you are, without you conforming to my set of beliefs. Whew. And that's where the challenge lies. And we look at the world around us and we look at the disruptions and the wars and the gun violence and gang violence and all the things that are going on that we would disagree with. And all of it is coming from somewhere, and it's coming from consciousness. And it is a consciousness of division. And what we're striving to do here at CSL on the Lake and many other places is we're striving to unify. We're striving to remember who we really are and what we're really a part of. And that's the journey. The journey is to go, you know, there's 8 billion people on the planet. They're not all going to like me. I'm not going to like all of them. But loving is different, because love means oneness. When we're not talking about the emotion, you know, the smoochy smoochy, when we're not talking about that, we're talking about oneness. And that's what we teach, is the idea that there's one thing going on. We all live, move, and have our being in it. So it's like the ocean. We know that the waves are the ocean, not separate from, not different than, just an expression of. Well, you and I are part of life. We're part of this universe. We are an expression of, not separate than, not different than, the same as. And although energetically we're all the same, our creative instinct, our purpose here in life, our way that we live depends so much on where we were raised and who we were raised by and what the politics of the time were, or what religion we were raised in, or what ideas were present as we were being shaped and formed from divine perfection into a person who wouldn't irritate their parents too much. I think that was kind of the journey for me. Is I was always a bit of an irritant for my parents. And so they would tell me, don't be too loud and don't laugh too much and don't get angry and don't. And there were all these don'ts and won'ts. And these are the messages that created the idea of separation, not me from others, but me from myself. And I don't know, you may have had the similar experience where you were separated from yourself with all this messaging. And what we're doing is we're unblocking all that and bringing it all back together. That as I fall in love with me, I then have the capacity to love you. See, people who are absolutely living in harmony with their divine essence tend to live that way with others as well, even in moments of disagreement. So the journey that we're on is to shift what it is we believe about why we're here and what our purpose is and what we could do next. It's about moving into a new way of being so that we can expand in a place of peace and joy and harmony to create something more cohesive. We're here to live, not to put in time, to live, and to do it to the fullest possibility we can, moment by moment. Life loves you. Absolutely, without question or reservation. Life loves you. We're going to listen to a piece of music, and then we're going to go into a meditation. And I want you to just keep that idea running. Life loves me. Say that to yourself as this music begins. That you are, in fact, a beautiful, divine, exquisite being of love and light. Perfect in every way. Created with a purpose. And I invite you just to say to yourself, life loves me. And again, life loves me. Life loves me. And taking a breath and allowing that to settle in. Begin to say to yourself, I love me. I love me. I love me as I am, where I am, and with the life I have lived. Every mistake, every moment of blessing, all of it. I love me. And now imagining everybody on this call. And in your own mind, just speaking to each person. I love you. I love you. I love you. Not for what you do, not for the way you look, not for the life you've lived. I love you, for I am one with you. And taking a deep breath in and allowing that energy of wholeness, that energy of connectedness, maybe a shift in consciousness. Just know that in this moment, all is well. All is well. And take a deep breath in. And as you feel ready, opening your eyes.